Hey y'all, here's another Gemini Thoughts video. And this video is specifically highlighting the lies that Kamala Harris is telling us, the American people, about these migrants. And I wanted to take the opportunity to refresh everybody's memory in regards to these lies. I don't know why mainstream media is supporting her with this. I'm starting to think that they don't really care about us as Americans, and they really care about just staying in power and bringing this country down, just as Trump has highlighted time and time again, even the way that they have villainized him. And that's another story. And it's really sad that this is happening in our country in this day and age at this time, So without going any further, here are some videos to refresh everybody's memory so that when we go to the polls come November, we will vote wisely and remember what happened.
Down to the end of Title 42. As the crisis grows at the U.S.-Mexico border, we're seeing the impacts right here in our region.
Yeah, Title 42 expires in less than 7 hours. This Trump-era policy allowed the U.S. to quickly expel migrants due to COVID-19. And as it comes to an end, the number of migrants waiting to cross into the U.S., well, you can see from the pictures, it's surging.
Yeah, here's a look now at the U.S.-Mexico border crossing in El Paso. You can see the people gathered just on the other side of the fence waiting for midnight. Right now, near hundreds of people are standing in the line at the border near Yuma, Arizona to enter the U.S.
Here's a large group of migrants gathering at the Rio Grande, a lot of them wading across the river, only to be stopped at the bank by Texas state troopers. And then take a look at this aerial footage at the border entry in San Diego. All those cars and trucks are in line to cross when the clock strikes midnight. We know some of those drivers have been waiting there for days.
All right, so there's no question that this is a humanitarian crisis. We're talking about families here, some with small children hoping to find a better life in our country.
We also know there's a lot of confusion and misinformation out there surrounding the end of Title 42. So right now at 5, we're going to take a look at what's happening here at the border and what's happening at home.
Let's start right now in our backyard, where early this morning a bus full of migrants arrived on the vice president's doorstep.
Rafael Sanchez Cruz is live outside the Naval Observatory right now. Rafa, we've seen this happen before. I guess we're wondering now, what are the groups on the grounds telling you? Are they expecting us to see even more of these buses pulling up in the coming days?
Leslie Lorenzo, they are. Texas Governor Greg Abbott is keeping with his promise to continue busing migrants to cities ran by Democrats, including here, Washington, D.C., a message he's echoed several times this week as we wait for Title 42 to expire in a matter of hours. And just this morning at around 6:30, another migrant bus from Texas with several dozen migrants pulled up here to the Naval Observatory, the residence of Vice President Kamala Harris. Our cameras were there when the migrants, including families, stepped off the charter bus and were received by members of SAMU First Response, the organization assigned to this task by the D.C. government. Now, this bus arrives after a long pause of migrant buses arriving to the district and at a time when D.C. migrant shelters are at capacity, according to Mayor Muriel Bowser. Now, advocate groups are calling on emergency shelters as they expect more buses to arrive in the upcoming days.
Documented immigrant is not a criminal, and we have to correct course in this conversation.
We want to go out to Georgia next as we continue to follow the latest developments here of a person who has been arrested now in the death of a 22-year-old nursing student. That suspect charged in connection with that 22-year-old has been confirmed as an illegal immigrant who's originally from Venezuela. Fox News Digital.
Documented immigrant is not a criminal, and we have to correct course in this conversation.
Trying desperately to regain control of their apartment that they have just spent $300,000 to bring to code with renovations, but they can't even go in there because the Venezuelan gang has taken over their apartments. The city has denied the allegations Local officials and the media, including Kyle Clark of 9 News, have denied the allegations, even though they have posted eviction notices on the doors of residents and given them a very short amount of time to move out, find somewhere else to live, figure it out, we don't care. If this had been Cherry Creek, if this had been Greenwood Village, Jared Polis, the Colorado governor, would have sent in the damn National Guard. But because it's full of black and brown people in Aurora, nobody cares. This is a very dangerous problem. Been trying desperately to regain control of their apartment that they have just spent $300,000 to bring to code with renovations, but they can't even go in there because the Venezuelan gang has taken over their apartments. The city has denied the allegations. Local officials and the media, including Kyle Clark of 9 News, have denied the allegations, even though they have posted.
Documented immigrant is not a criminal, and we have to correct course in this conversation.
All right, an arrest has finally been made in the tragic murder of Maryland mom of 5, Rachel Morin, 10 months after her body was found naked and beaten on a remote hiking trail.
I just want to take this time to thank all of the law enforcement for all their hard work. They really did care about our family and my daughter, that they were going to work diligently to find the person that murdered her. And it's because of that that we have an arrest today.
Police arrested Victor Martinez Hernandez, a migrant who entered the country illegally in February 2023 after reportedly murdering a young woman in El Salvador. Randolph.
Documented immigrant is not a criminal, and we have to correct course in this conversation.
I want to talk politics. Never have been. I try to stay out of those conversations. I've always respected what everyone feels and thinks. I still do. But I don't think a lot of you understand what's happening in our country right now, mainly because most of you don't live in a sanctioned city. I live in Denver. So the people that are living in these sanctioned cities, we are slowly losing control of our city, our cities. And the government's not doing anything. Governor Polis in Colorado, he is not doing anything about the apartment complex that has been taken over by Venezuelan gang members that have come over illegally. They have robbed 10 gun shops in Denver in the past month. They are strapping up, and this is just the first step. They're seeing what they can get away with. And so far, they've been in this apartment complex for almost a month. The police can't do anything about it. We haven't brought in reinforcements, and they're just living in this apartment complex they overtook, and no one's doing anything. What do you think they're going to do next? They're going to start overtaking more apartment complexes, more buildings, more facilities. What did our country think was going to happen when their time was up in the hotels we provided to them?
Documented immigrant is not a criminal, and we have to correct course in this conversation.
He's calling the most dangerous illegal immigrants.
The 10 men wanted for various crimes are part of Abbott's latest border security efforts. Right now, border security remains a top issue for voters this election season. Marcelina Benito joins us now live with more. Marcelina?
Well, and Mia, think of this as a political chess match. President Biden made his move yesterday when he announced his executive order on immigration. Governor Greg Abbott countered today with a move of his own. Both moves, political experts say, extremely political.
This plays on fear.
Tonight, a new most wanted list is live online on a Texas DPS website. 10 photos of who DPS says are the most dangerous criminal illegal immigrants. 5 are last known to have been in the Houston area, wanted for crimes like child molestation, murder, and rape.
Documented immigrant is not a criminal, and we have to correct course in this conversation.
The Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office says a woman was forced into a car in this neighborhood. Neighbors say they're very surprised.
Around Lake Osborne, bikers
right here, babe,
and neighbors picking up trash like Alyssa Suarez says it's usually as calm as the lake.
So it's a really quiet neighborhood. It's very peaceful.
She's one of many surprised after the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office arrested these 3 men. Spokesperson for the Sheriff's Office says all 3 are undocumented immigrants from Guatemala. They face various charges, but the Sheriff's Office says they forced a woman into a car, then committed sexual battery on her at 2 different locations before the woman escaped, then flagged a passerby nearby for help.
Sounds awful, and I hope she's okay, and that sounds scary. It's definitely not the norm here.
I didn't hear anything. No sirens, no screams, no nothing.
Lauren Thiessen says she never worries about her kids playing outside. She says she's now concerned.
I have children. I have a younger daughter. Myself, by myself, going for walks. It's just crazy.
Court records show one of the men, Andre Felipe Morales, was cited in January for not having a driver's license. The citation was noel prosse, meaning the state attorney abandoned the charges. Records show the state agreed to abandon prosecution if the defendant provided or showed proof of paying $100 and obtaining a driver's license. We reached out to the state attorney's office past 9 p.m. tonight about how it's possible for him to obtain a driver's license if he's undocumented, like the sheriff's office says.
Documented immigrant is not a criminal, and we have to correct course in this conversation.
A woman being dragged across the street while she was being robbed. Tonight, cops arresting several migrants for dozens of robberies all across New York City.
Eyewitness News reporter Jim Dolan with what could happen to those migrants.
From Sheepshead Bay to Lower Manhattan, police say a gang of recent migrants from Venezuela terrorized New Yorkers, robbing them violently and then hacking their phones to drain bank accounts of hundreds of thousands of dollars. Police say this is one part of one migrant gang, and there are others.
In recent months, a wave of migrant crime has washed over our city, but they are nonetheless preying on New Yorkers and making our city less safe.
Here, a thief on a moped violently steals a purse, but most importantly, a phone. The phone is then hacked to drain the person's bank accounts. This one pattern has nearly 150 victims, but is part of a larger pattern of criminal gangs police say they have discovered in the migrant community.
Documented immigrant is not a criminal, and we have to correct course in this conversation.